Good evening, everyone. My name is Tina Huerman, and I am so excited about tonight's call. Heather works with one of the spouses of one of my teammates, and he suggested we bring her on because she is a detox queen herself, and I'm so excited to get an outside opinion um, of uh, of of detoxing and stuff. And just it's always nice to have a fresh voice in the house, isn't it? So let's drop some love in the comments for Miss Heather tonight. I'm going to get some of the formalities out of the way before we bring her on camera. HB Naturals is a pure plant ingredient promise. Absolutely love the purity of what we have to offer in our products. Oh, that's the wrong screen. We'll skip that. Our formulator is Alexandria Brighton. She's been in aromatherapy for over 30 years. She's a formulator and educator, owner of the Brighton Institute of Botanical Studies, creator of the Degenerative Disease Clinic in Mexico, created her own herbal pharmacy. And what I love about her is she has first harvest rights globally when it comes to harvesting the plants and herbs that we use in our products here at HB Naturals. HB Naturals is purpose driven, has a buy and try guarantee. It is farm direct and earth friendly. I love that we have those qualities that we stand very firmly on in this company. We all have a purpose. If you're in here and you're sharing with others, you have a heart of servanthood, which makes us all purpose driven. Paula, our CEO, always says, I want to make an impact. And we get to make those impacts with these products in this company. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this. We do want to make sure that everyone is fully understanding that we are not making medical claims in here. Nothing has been approved by the FDA. The FDA really doesn't get into supplements because there's no money behind it to do the medical trials and stuff that are required in order for the FDA to approve it. Let's see. There we go. So here we are. This is my new friend, Heather, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. I'm going to stop share, and she's going to take over the share here in a second. And let me get that one muted. All right, there we go. Heather, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us and for us this evening. I'm so grateful for your time and knowledge, and I've got my notebook ready to take notes because I'm a huge note taker. So if I'm not looking directly at the screen, I'm writing down what you're talking about. So I have given you, let me make sure you're co-host so you can share screen. There we go. All right, ma'am, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here, and I am puppy sitting. So I've got a puppy who's on my lap. This is her nap time. So hopefully she'll be good on my lap as we're sitting here. I am excited to meet with you today. And I have a disclaimer that this talk is only for educational purposes. I don't know your medical history. Anything you want to implement, please check with whoever your practitioner is. So just a little bit about me. I have a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition. I was a registered dietitian and a diabetic educator. And then I got very sick at the age of 30 and was very sick for the next 27 years. And it led me to go to school to become a board certified functional health coach to sort of get at the underlying root of what was going on. Sadly, my education did not prepare me for my own health journey. It was actually regenerative nutrition and detoxification principles that allowed me to restore my health after 27 years of illness and disability. I had undiagnosed Lyme and a lifetime of exposure to mold. So I was pretty sick, but it has really become my mission and my heart to give people hope that they can get well no matter what they're dealing with. And if I could get well after being sick from 30 to 57, I'm now 58, anybody can reclaim their health. I really do specialize in Lyme and mold toxicity and chronic inflammatory response syndrome and any other really chronic conditions. So we Oops, I guess I have to admit people. Sorry about that. Um, we're going to talk about binders for detoxification, and we're going to talk about what binders are, when they can be helpful, how to use them, when they're contraindicated, and sort of give you an overview of prescription binders, over-the-counter binders, and whole food binders that are on the market. So a little bit about what are binders. Well, basically, just like the name implies, they are compounds that bind to toxins to remove them from the digestive tract so that they're not reabsorbed in the body. And they usually are taken orally as a pill or a powder most often, but sometimes they might come as a gel or a tincture. But they are a very important part when people are dealing with a chronic illness. Usually an underlying root in most chronic illnesses as a health coach is toxicity. And even in just keeping our health well, now that my toxic burden has been brought all the way down, I want to keep my health good. So I want to continue to make sure that I keep my toxic bucket pretty low or empty in my body. If I'm not looking at you guys, it's because I'm admitting people. So why do we need binders? The bottom line is we live in a very toxic world today. And even though I'm assuming most of you here probably have very healthy lifestyles, you may eat organic and clean. Even organic has pesticides. Organic doesn't mean pesticide free. It just means lower level of pesticides were exposed in our air and our water and in our food. So that's part of why binders can be very helpful. So just a little background. Today we're exposed to about 82,000 chemicals in the marketplace. That was 2007. So I'm sure that number is much, much higher. 95% of these chemicals have not been tested. And so we don't even know how these chemicals interact with each other, let alone interact in the body. The crazy thing is they've done studies on babies' umbilical cord blood, and there were 200 chemicals in the baby's umbilical cord blood upon birth. So there they haven't even had that exposure, right, to those toxins other than through the mother. And typically an adult is exposed to about 127 chemicals in a day. So, God did design our body so that it can detox. The issue is that we're just being exposed, this generation compared to like my son's generation and his future kids' generation are being exposed to so much more than ever before. But God designed the system of organs, our liver, our lymph, our blood, our lungs, our skin, our bowels, our kidneys to eliminate and filter toxins out of the body. But a lot of times these organs become overwhelmed with what we're having to deal with. Whoops. So there's this theory that when we develop a chronic illness, it's due to our toxic bucket overflowing. And everybody's bucket's different. Everybody's genetics are different in terms of what causes that bucket to overflow. But when that bucket overflows, we tend to develop symptoms, and we can be developing illnesses as well. Typically, when our toxic bucket overflows, we develop illness or dis-ease. We can have trouble losing weight. We can have trouble sleeping. We can have fatigue. We can have chronic inflammation from toxins in the body. And that inflammation can do damage, can affect blood sugars, can affect our gut and damage the gut, can lead to hormonal imbalances. So as a health coach, like to me, anytime I see someone, toxicity is at the root of everybody that I am working with, along with other issues as well. But toxicity is huge. So when to use binders? Binders are typically used when we know somebody has heavy metal toxicity, which is very commonplace today. When we know someone has we have Lyme disease or co-infections, when we're dealing with parasites and die-off, people are dealing with mold toxicity. And after dental work, sometimes people will use binders, but it's often also used to decrease symptoms when someone is working on detoxing their body. Binders can mop up those toxins really quickly and bring down the symptoms of detox. And there are many binders that you're going to learn about that actually don't even cause detox symptoms, so they can be very helpful to bring down the toxic load in the body, and they're used for many other things. But this is a lot of the things that I use binders for, because I'm working with people with high heavy metal loads and high toxic buckets and high parasite loads and all of that. So the benefit of a binder is it helps to rid the body of toxic chemicals that really negatively impact our health. They can also help to lower cholesterol. And as we're using binders, we're bringing down toxicity, which brings down inflammation in the body, which helps to get the body more alkaline. And when the body's more alkaline, disease cannot thrive in alkalinity. It thrives in acidity. Binders can help with digestive issues like bloating, gas, and diarrhea. And like for me, I'm using it a lot of times to help decrease people's symptoms that they're dealing with as they are detoxing, or they're dealing with die-off of a bacteria, of a virus, or of a parasite. So what do binders remove? They remove a whole bunch of things, and there are different binders for all kinds of things. But in general, they remove heavy metals. Mycotoxins are the byproduct of mold. So mold doesn't make us sick. It's the waste product that mold gives off, called a mycotoxin, that's invisible to the eye, that makes us sick. Biotoxins are the waste products of bacteria, pesticides, volatile organic chemicals, like when somebody paints your house, and you got that chemical smell, or you have new carpet or new furniture, there are VOCs that are being given off in your home. And today our homes are so tightly built that like things don't leave the house. So if we use chemicals in the house, if we have off-gassing in furniture and carpet, we're inhaling that, whether we realize it or not. So there are times not to use binders, especially prescription binders. If someone is living in high levels of mold, binders are often contraindicated. Now, not if they're from food, like a lot of the stuff at HB Naturals, but prescription binders are contraindicated when someone's in a toxic environment. We want to get out of the environment first. If someone's bowels are not moving, that toxin is just going to be recirculated, because we need those detox and drainage pathways supported and open. So that's a really important part of using binders, is that your bowels are the first thing, as a health coach, that I have to make sure someone's going at least twice a day. Getting the lymph moving, making sure the liver and gallbladder are properly supported. Everybody's very different sometimes in terms of what they need, but these are just some important things to consider when somebody is using a binder. It is a good idea to work with a practitioner to determine, what's best for you, what binders are best for you based on your situation and goals. I do something called applied kinesiology, or muscle testing, when I'm on a video call with clients, that can help me determine what binder is a priority for them, what dose to use, what resonates with their body. And I can determine through the muscle testing if their lymph needs support, kidneys, bowels. It's sort of been really wonderful in working with really sick clients to be able to help them. So I'm going to talk about 2 prescription binders first. I'm not a big fan of prescription binders. I really prefer to use food as medicine. The regenerative approach is all about using food, herbs, things from the earth as medicine. But cholestyramine is FDA approved to lower cholesterol, and they studied it helps to remove mycotoxins, the byproduct of mold. So it's typically used in mold toxicity. It's very powerful. There have been a lot of studies on it. It is a powder. It's by prescription only, so it has to be gotten through a doctor. Now, there are a lot of negatives as far as I'm concerned with cholestyramine. It binds to nutrients and medications, so it's not great long-term. It's super constipating. It's usually taken 2 or 3 times a day, so it has to be taken away from food and medication. People need to drink plenty of water. And the one thing I really don't like about it is when you get it from a doctor, usually it's orange flavored with NutraSweet. So it's got toxins in it. So if somebody needs it and it's cheaper for them to get it through their insurance, get it through a compounding pharmacy, then it doesn't have all the chemicals. in the binder. Very similar to cholestyramine is another prescription binder called Welcall. It's a pill. It's about a quarter of as effective as the cholestyramine, but people who can't tolerate the cholestyramine will also be put on this. It also helps to lower cholesterol, very, very similar to the cholestyramine in the negatives, very constipating, binds nutrients and medications, making them ineffective. So it's really tricky with the timing of when you take it. And it's also not for long-term use, although, I mean, I see doctors put people on this for a very long time. It's not uncommon when people have mold toxicity to be on some sort of binder for 2 to 3 years. So I'm not a big fan of these, in all honesty. Now I'm going to go over some over-the-counter binders. Activated charcoal is a very common over-the-counter binder that you can buy on Amazon, very inexpensive. It's taken on an empty stomach. It's most often used if someone thinks they've had food poisoning. And it's typically just used for a very short period of time. It does bind nutrients and medications. So it's not something you want to be on for a long time, but it's a very broad spectrum binder, binding a whole bunch of different kinds of chemicals and toxins, but super inexpensive. So a lot of people do use it. Bentonite clay is another binder that binds to heavy metals, mold, and microbes. You can actually take a bath in bentonite clay and it will pull toxins out, just like taking a bath in Epsom salts, along with you can ingest it in water. It is stronger than charcoal, and it is a very broad spectrum binder. This was a binder that my doctors put me on initially. I didn't really get better because they did not work on opening my pathways. They were just focused when I found out I was sick on binding. So those pathways are really, really important when we're doing binding, but this can be bought over the counter, but it does bind to some nutrients and it is constipating, and you do need to take it with plenty of water. And a lot of people who have illnesses, they will vary their binders, especially in mold toxicity and Lyme. They're, often changing up what binders they're on, so they're binding to different toxins. So there are many fibers out there that bind. I personally, like I said, I use food to bind with all my clients. I don't use prescription binders unless the client has a script from their doctor, they're muscle testing for it, and it fits their budget better than the over-the-counter binders. But I love fibers because, one, I mean, they're helping your bowels move, they're giving you nutrition, they help to lower cholesterol. So some of the fibers that act as wonderful binders are oats, wheat bran, alfalfa, flax, barley. This is a picture of chia seed. Pectins, apple pectin, citrus pectin. They're really wonderful for binding to biotoxins, so the byproduct of bacteria die-off. Die-off of parasites and mycotoxins. Very, very gentle. Some of you may have heard of chlorella, beautiful, beautiful green. You can get it in a powder or a tablet, add it to a shake. It's an algae. It's most known for binding heavy metals. And it does bind to other toxins. It's great to take before eating fish that might be high in heavy metals like tuna or swordfish. Oops. Now you guys are probably very familiar with humic acid and fulvic acid because you have, I noticed in your product line, you have fulvic acid, powder, and a liquid. And I use a lot of humic and fulvic acid with my clients. It is an organic compound that's found from decomposed plant matter in the soil. It is so rich in nutrients, minerals, electrolytes. So, the prescription binders on the market bind out nutrients. I love using food to bind because we're giving the body nutrients and we're pulling out toxins. So it's just wonderful double duty. Fulvic and humic acid have been studied and proven to remove the pesticide glyphosate. I don't know how many of you guys, you're nodding, you've heard of glyphosate. It's the chemical that's in Roundup. And glyphosate destroys the gut, and Roundup is sprayed on our agriculture. It's sprayed on golf courses, on lawns. And even if you're eating all organic, we're all being exposed to glyphosate, and we all have glyphosate, sadly, in our body just because it's now in our air and our water. So removing glyphosate is going to keep the gut healthy, and fulvic and humic acid do that. They also remove other heavy metals like cadmium and lead, and other toxins from the body. They're great for binding waste products of die-off of bacteria, parasites. I've been on high doses in my healing journey of humic and fulvic acid, and they don't compete at all for nutrition. So this is a real favorite of mine. Zeolite, I don't know how many of you have heard of zeolite. Zeolite is a mineral that's formed when lava and water contact each other. There's over 240 zeolites on the market. Some zeolites can be depleting. The one I tend to use with clients is clinoptilate. It's a honeycomb kind of structure that forms a cage that attracts negatively charged toxins and puts it into that cage and pulls it out of the body. Most commonly, it's used to bring down heavy metal load in the body. What's really nice about it, and why I use it, is it doesn't cause a detox symptom or a herx. You know, when I've had people on heavy metal detoxes, they're very unpleasant. So this doesn't cause that at all. So that is my last. There are other binders on the market, and there are brand names that I'm not going to go into, but that's like a good overview of some of the most common binders on the market. And again, I encourage you, work with a practitioner to determine, you know, what's best for you based on your goals, especially if you're chronically ill. You know, if you already have pretty good health, you may be able to pick and choose what you want to try, but a lot of times people start on binders, and if you're taking too much, they can make you sick, you know, as you're pulling toxins out of the tissue and they're recirculating into the body before they leave through your bowels or through your urine. So there's sort of an art to it. Just a reminder, the whole benefit of decreasing that toxic burden in the body, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna have better sleep, better digestion. Your weight may start to decrease, better mood, more energy, less brain fog, more vibrant skin, you know, as you detox. So using binders can help all of that. So now I'm open to any questions you guys might have.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, you guys, if you want to unmute yourself, let me know if you have an issue with that. And if you have any questions, you can also drop them in the chat. For that was very informative. We do a lot of detox education around here, and it was nice to see some of the other options out there also, like the bentonite clay. I have a girlfriend of mine. She carries several of our products on her TikTok channel, and she had just used bentonite clay to, let's see, how do I say this compliantly? Support a tooth that had a hole in it that no longer has a hole in it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I've been on so many. I used food to bind, but I've been on really high doses of binders because I was put on a lot of drugs on my journey when they didn't know what I had wrong. So I was on 20 prescription drugs for 20 years. So when I went through detox, the binders were huge at helping mop up, you know, because I was just dumping toxins. And so it was very uncomfortable and painful. So the binders became very important, but you can use food to bind, like fulvic and humic, and it's so gentle. It's just so gentle.
Yeah, I have had some people, so our fulvic is a food grade. I'm not sure how much you looked into that. And in the past, I've taken a half a teaspoon, no, 1 to 2 teaspoons of fulvic acid for detoxing. And with this one, if I take more than the 1/8 of a teaspoon, sometimes I'll get those headaches and that nauseousness because, you know, it's such a powerful powder. I've got one gal that can only take 1/64 of a teaspoon. So we had to have her get those tiny little ones. So there was a question, what version of zeolite do you recommend?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name brands here, so I don't want to not be compliant. So, I mean, I have a brand that I have several brands I use, but I have a favorite brand that I have found has helped my husband and my clients the most. So am I allowed to name a brand or should I not?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I use Cell Defender by Avini. Um, yeah, that's that. I've used others, but that seemed to have the biggest impact. But most zeolites, you're looking for that clinoptilene, and it should be micronized. And there are a lot of good brands out there. And again, for me, it's really about what clients muscle test for. So if they
Mhm,
don't muscle test for a product that I love, I want to give them what they muscle test for because that means it resonates with their body.
mhm.
And so I don't have to know all the details about what toxins they have in their body. Their body is going to tell me. I mean, I can do testing to know that or to verify my muscle testing because muscle testing is subjective, but it makes it really easy to pick what the body needs with muscle testing.
Thank you. Any other questions? Let's see. Thank you for the information. How do you know if your body is truly detoxing? Are there any particular signs you look for?
Well, if you start making changes to how you're eating healthier, common signs of detox are any symptom you can think of can be a detox symptom, but the most common are having fatigue, having sinus drainage, feeling like you have a cold or the flu. You can get a terrible, terrible headache. You can get really achy all over. Those are the most common, and I can tell clients when we start making shifts in their diet, like to warn them, hey, you're going to start to have some symptoms. But usually I reach out and call them and they forget and they're like, oh, I'm sick. I have the flu. I'm like, no, you're not sick. And if you have those symptoms and you take an Epsom salt bath or you go in a sauna and you feel better, I mean, that's a way of confirming that it's detox. The only other way to really confirm is I do muscle testing with people to just give them peace of mind and then support their body through the symptoms.
Could you, I'm going to pin your, would you stop sharing screen for just a second? I think
Okay.
yours are done anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
We had someone in the chat ask about muscle testing. Are you able to coach them through how to muscle test themselves like right now?
Yeah, yeah. So muscle testing is using a muscle response for a yes or no. I'm a Christian. I don't feel anything. I'm not praying to anybody. This was like found by orthopedic doctors. So if you want information on muscle testing, I can give it to you. But I do best with this O-ring technique. So you can take any two fingers. We can all do this. I take my other hand and I'm putting my fingers in here to try to open this up. So you want to hold it sort of firmly. And I just say my name is my name, Heather. And I should keep it nice and strong. And that's my yes. So you can try to use a control, like each of you can think your name in your head or say it out loud. So Tina, you'd say my name is my name Tina, and it should stay closed. But there is a learning curve to learn how firmly to hold your fingers because you're pressing against it, trying to open it. So there are many other ways to muscle test. Chiropractors do it in person. I learned how to do it in person. I took coursework with chiropractors touching people's bodies. I didn't like that. I was a dietitian. I don't touch people's bodies. And my chiropractors taught me how to do it on myself. And then I started doing it on clients, and I've been doing it for about 4 years. So you can take a product. I don't have a product in front of me. You can hold a product. I can just say a product, and you can muscle test if that product resonates with you. But it's all about what you're asking and how you ask. So we don't just want to know if it resonates with you. We want to know if you need it now. So
Mhm.
it's asking like, do I need this product? Yes, and this is a no. Is it beneficial? So I'll ask, do you need it? Is it a priority? Is it beneficial? If someone's already taking it, I have to be a little clever with how I ask because I'm going to get a no if they're already on it. So I have to say, well, do you need it tomorrow? Will you need it later in the day if you've already taken it? So it's all about how the question is asked. And then I can dose, and you can say, do I need 1 drop? Do I need 2 drops? Do I need 3 drops? So I've gotten a little crazy with the muscle testing because it helps me see when I see clients how toxic they're coming in. So I'll muscle test what their toxic bucket is, what their parasite load is, 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. And then I sort of follow it. And if they need support, we can recommend testing to verify where they are. But the testing is so expensive
Right.
that it just sort of helps us see that they're making progress, because in the process of healing, if you've been as sick as I was, it's very uncomfortable. So it can be, just very difficult to know what's going on when you're not feeling good, when you're actually, your body's doing exactly what it needs to do.
What it needs to do. I'm going to put it on gallery. For those of you that have, if you guys want to turn your cameras on real quick, for those that can, because I know not everyone can. And let's do that test. So I'm going to put my fingers together like this. Let's all do it together. And then put your 2 fingers in. Is my name Tina?
So if we all say, is my name Tina, everybody should go weak if they.
Right. So you can ask that question. Is your name Tina? And then ask it what your name is. So like me, is my name Todd? And it opened. I saw muscle testing this weekend down in Orlando when I was at the conference, and the gentleman that was on stage doing this, and he did the arm one, and he used it to find out where your financial money block is.
You can use it for anything. You're going to think I'm nuts, but you can use it for emotional questions. There's NET, which is a form of muscle testing for emotional work. There's so many. I've used it to match the colors in my office, my paint to my photograph. I thought, let me try this because I'm not a good decorator. I've even used it to pick out clothing that's a good style and color for me. Furniture that's good. You can sort of take it to a whole new level once you get comfortable, but it takes practice, and some people pick it up right away, and some people have to find a different technique because there's like lots of different ways to do it. I just don't do well with the other ways. Some people sway, so you have to find what works for you.
Yeah, and then a friend of mine was doing a demo of it also, and like she stood, and I'll just use my oregano oil, and she stood and, do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? And if her body did not need that essential oil that she was holding, she like almost fell backwards because she's so trained in it and does it all the time. And then we switched oils and she tried another one. She goes, okay, I'm ordering that one.
Yeah, it's a wonderful tool. And just because your body doesn't want something now doesn't mean in a week or 2 weeks. It's really based on that moment in time, what your body wants and needs. And it's ever changing, on our journeys to staying healthy or being healthy. It's sort of fun. I mean, it's really quite helpful.
Yes, it is. And practice that and let me know, you guys, if you do continue with that muscle testing. Let me know some of the things that you're testing on and the results you're getting and how that has helped and affected. And one thing too, I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you all saw my story in my Facebook stories, but she talked about the skin health and detoxing and having better skin. And from June of last year to just last weekend, I'm just absolutely blown away by my skin and just how clear it is, how, less inflammation. I mean, I also stopped drinking 6 months ago, long story there, but so all of that, plus these natural products, the fulvic acid, which I love. That's my heart product here at HB Naturals, that and the black seed oil. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen again real quick and just kind of run through some of the products. I know that I asked if you wouldn't mind taking a look at Mind, Body, and Soul. Did you get a chance to do that?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I love the ingredients, that everything is organic, it's so clean. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I use with clients. I only use stuff that's organic, and and a lot of what I use is called regeneratively farmed.
Mhm.
And no additives, no fillers. So, I mean, totally aligns with what I do already.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know Paula, our CEO, is very, very dedicated to purity. She has a reputation of purity, but she's also extremely protective of our formulator, Alexandria Brighton's uh, reputation for purity in plant medicine. And she's refused products when they've come in, even though they pass third party testing. There's an in-house quality control that if it does not pass that, she ships it back. She's like, nope, that's bad batch. I'm not paying for it. So I do love that guarantee that we have here with the Pure Plant Promise. Next up, we've got the fulvic acid for anyone. Oops, I need to move that over a little bit. For anyone that has not tried fulvic is my absolute favorite product that we carry. As she said, it is a binder. It's also a chelator. It detoxes at 65 times its weight, 73 plus trace minerals, increases oxygen, balances the pH and alkaline environment, which she spoke about earlier. I truly feel like fulvic, muscle test yourself, but in my opinion, I think in small doses daily, and heavier doses or servings for a detox protocol. With that, we also have our detox protocols that we do. We've got the lymph detox that she talked about, making sure that the lymphatic system is moving correctly. We talk about that before we do any detoxes, before we do the 3-day liver cleanse, before we do the parasite cleanse. We want to make sure everything is moving accordingly, which is why the lymph detox bundle was added to the combo pack. There's the 3-day liver detox, which I absolutely love. I feel so filled with vitality when I'm done with that. And then the rapid reboot is another really great one that I don't know many of you have talked about or know about, but that's an excellent detox protocol that we have. All the how-tos are on your website. And then black seed oil is also a detoxification agent, is anti-parasitic. So that is another, there's 500 peer-reviewed studies on the fulvic acid, or I'm sorry, on the black seed oil that you can find on PubMed. And, let me back up. With this, the value pack, you'll get the 8 black seed oil, 1 ounce, but this month, September, is the Try Me product for black seed oil. And I don't know how many of you have heard, but Paula has asked that the entire field be on black seed oil through the fall and through the winter months with everything that's coming or we're hearing that's coming, and to share that compliantly, please, with your network, because we want to make sure that we are keeping our friends and family safe. And she wants you on that black seed oil because she cares about you. Some of those kits will also include that free black seed oil. If you need more information on the Try Me product, get that free, let me know. Coming up next, we have Coach Marcus, who is such a gem. I just adore him so much. Marcus, this is the 11th slide of 11 slides. So there we are with our numbers that we like to send back and forth. But he has the U+2 Freedom Project. If you're interested in learning how to earn an income by sharing these products, you're more than welcome to hop on the call at 8 o'clock. That's about 15 minutes. One Team, One Dream Hangout, passcode GO1TEAM. And let me stop share. And if you guys wouldn't mind just showing Heather some love in the chat for her excellent presentation tonight. Heather, thank you so much. I know Dan will take good care of you. And I'm going to work with him a little bit too, to get you some samples at least of what we have, so you can muscle test for yourself, because we would love to have you try our products and just give it your official internal endorsement. So
Thank you so much.
all right, you guys, thank you so much. Next week, Diva Call, same time. I'll make sure that the link is correct. I'm not sure what happened with that. I've been having issues with my phone, and I did build that event on my phone. But Tina Heuerman, Detox Divas, signing out for the week. See you next Thursday, everyone. Bye-bye.